right next to my face.
I don't know who sits there. I don't remember. No, it's not. laughed, then she punched me. I know, I'm like right on it. So like graphics. There are so many people here. Good job, Utah State. Yeah, lots of on the back row, the second one is. Thank you so much. It's okay. I should have remembered. cap is sweet. Oh my gosh. Oh, that one. Like Renaissance. Wait, where? Oh, sweet. That's lit. Yeah, I just used that button. Her cap is lit. I'll just put like a Can I smile? Take a picture of me. I'm ready. Hey.
Well, good morning and welcome to the 130th commencement exercises of Utah State University. I am Ron Gibson, Chair of the USU Board of Trustees. You have just heard the USU Scotsman Band, Pipe and Drum Corps, Wind Orchestra, and Chamber Singers perform Highland Cathedral. We will now ask the Army ROTC Color Guard to present the colors of the United States of America and the state of Utah. After which, Rebecca Solberg, a senior from Eagle, Idaho, graduating in vocal performance, will sing the national anthem. Please stand and remain standing until the color guard leaves the hall.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you so much to our color guard and to Rebecca for that beautiful rendering of our national anthem. What an amazing sight this is to look out over this audience as students and this wonderful achievement and so many families and loved ones in the audience. And we are very pleased to welcome each one of you to this program this morning. Members of the graduating class of 2017, your families and your friends, faculty, and alumni. We recognize dedicated leaders of the state and many special guests, including legislators, other government officials, and church and civic leaders who are gathered with us today. From the Utah Board of Regents, we welcome Chair Daniel W. Campbell and members of the Board of Regents, Ty B. Aller, Laura L. Belknap, Marlon K. Jensen, Mark R. Stoddard, Teresa Tyre. Representing the Utah System of Higher Education from the Commissioner's Office, Commissioner David L. Bueller. From the Utah State University Board of Trustees, Vice Chair Scott R. Watterson, Jody K. Burnett, Linda Clark Gilmore, Mark K. Holland, Karen H. Huntsman, Susan D. Johnson, J. Scott Nixon, Frank Peasy Jr., Michael Scott Peters, and Lane L. Thomas. We are pleased to acknowledge the presence of members of the administration and faculty of the university. And it is an honor to be here with so many of the faculty and other valued colleagues. Now it is my singular honor to turn to the investiture of President Noel E. Cockett. Inauguration ceremonies are actually based on ancient academic tradition. We conduct them still because they also carry modern value to each of us as they provide an opportunity to tie our past with the present and to commemorate another huge milestone of great significance in our 129-year history of the university. Daniel W. Campbell, Chair of the Utah Board of Regents, will now proceed with the charge to an investiture of President Cockett. Chairman Campbell.
Thank you, Chair Gibson. It's a great day to be here. It's a great day for Utah State University. President Cockett, you have a long and distinguished career of service to your discipline, Utah State University, and the students and citizens of our state. The Board of Regents has full confidence in you to lead this great university honorably and successfully. It is now my responsibility and privilege to deliver to you a formal charge on behalf of the State Board of Regents. I want to first acknowledge that you have had the good fortune to follow a very successful president, Stan Albrecht, who led this institution for many years and served as a mentor to you. As president, you will take what you have learned from him and all of your years of experience here to meet whatever challenges Utah State University may face. President Cockett, I draw your attention to 4 areas of focus as you define your agenda, set priorities, and meet the challenges ahead. First, advance student success and well-being. Utah State University is a place where students learn, thrive, and grow as citizens of the world. Becoming an educated person is more than the sum total of lectures, readings, or exams. It is about becoming a better person, a person of sound character, integrity, responsibility, and compassion, one who appreciates and respects others, who listens, collaborates, and works hard. Ensure all students have a safe environment to learn and succeed, which enables them to live up to their fullest potential. Foster inclusiveness in all forms in your student body, as well as in your faculty and administration. Encourage and support students from historically underrepresented populations to enroll in the university and to help all students graduate in a timely manner. Dedicated faculty, dean, administrators, and staff who live the values of access, quality, inclusiveness, and service to students will help fulfill these important goals. Second, cultivate the research mission. Utah State University is a premier research institution which encourages its exceptional faculty to discover, create, and innovate. This is true whether performing groundbreaking research in genome mapping of livestock, probing the upper reaches of our atmosphere, or writing a book of poetry. Each of these scholarship activities is critical to the well-being of the people of the state of Utah. Your own accomplishments as a researcher strengthen your leadership to advance the university in the discovery of knowledge. Retain and attract quality faculty from around the world to enhance the research mission of this university. Third, focus on the statewide reach of the university through its many branch campuses and educational sites, as well as USU's extension programs that are delivered throughout Utah. The university is in a unique position to make a statewide impact on the educational attainment of Utahns by having a presence in nearly all of the counties in the state. The access you provide Utahns, particularly in parts of the state without other higher education institutions or opportunities, is important. As a pioneer in distance delivery, continue to provide education and outreach to all corners of Utah. Cultivate these sites to grow strategically and ensure that Utah State University's growth is connected to areas of needed economic development in the state. Fourth, and finally, stay true to your agricultural roots and land grant mission. The Morrill Act of 1862 funded land grant institutions with a mission to focus on agriculture, engineering, and the applied sciences as a response to the Industrial Revolution and the changing social class. While Utah State University has grown into a large institution that fulfills a full spectrum of educational opportunities, it is important to remember your distinct mission within the Utah system of higher education. President Cockett, you set the tone and standard for this great institution. As a woman of strong character, integrity, intellect, ability, experience, and optimism, you have our full confidence and support as you build upon Utah State University's legacy of success. Of note, the Board of Regents undertook an extensive and rigorous process to find the 16th president of Utah State University. The Presidential Search Committee, which included representatives of the Board of Regents, Board of Trustees, administration, faculty, students, alumni, supporters, and community members, looked far and wide and considered nearly 40 outstanding potential candidates from across the country. Ultimately, we found that the best person to lead this university was the same capable person who has had such a large hand in its success for many years, Dr. Noel Cockett. Dr. Cockett, as you lead this university, you will be assisted by your capable and very supportive spouse, John, who is in his own right a wonderful ambassador of this institution. We appreciate his many contributions to this university. Please know of my personal support and highest regard. President Cockett, if you would please join me at the podium.
Thank you so much. It is truly an honor to serve this incredibly strong and wonderful institution as its 16th president. I will do all I can to make USU shine brightly in the years to come. Thank you. And now my work begins. The USU Chamber Singers will now sing one of my personal favorite musical selections, Homeward Bound. Words and music by Marta Keene, arranged by Mac Wilberg, soundtrack prepared by Dr. Michael Huff and the Fry Street Quartet, featuring Leslie Timmons on recorder and directed by Dr. Corey Evans and Brooklyn Dyer. I just love that song, and it's never better than when performed by our very own USU Chamber Singers. Thank you. Today is a time for us to celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates, but it's impossible to celebrate graduates without recognizing as well their teachers. I am confident that there are few of us in this great audience today who would be here were it not for the influence of great teachers in our lives. Pat Conrad puts it this way: if there is more important work than teaching, I hope to learn about it before I die. So I would like to take a moment and ask the members of our faculty, as well as all of the teachers in the audience, to please stand and receive our recognition and thanks. We are privileged to be in the presence of today's graduating class. They are represented by some of their most outstanding members, valedictorians of the 8 academic colleges and the 2 recipients of the University Citizens Award. Each valedictorian is escorted by a professor chosen as highly influential in the life of the student being honored. These students are seated in the front row of our students. We request that they and their faculty escorts stand as their names are read and remain standing. Please hold your applause until they have all been introduced. College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences, Joan Pettit, and his escort, Professor Heidi Wingren. Kane College of the Arts, Emily Genju Kodum, escort Cindy Dewey, who are seated on the platform. There we are. John M. Huntsman School of Business, Brianne Yamauchi, escort Professor Susan Jones. Emma Eccles Jones College of Education and Human Services, Sheena Chipman, escort Professor Mac Longhurst. College of Engineering, Megan Nicole Jordan, escort Professor Paul Barr. College of Humanities and Social Sciences, Kelsey K. Peterson, escort Professor Jason Gilmore. S.J. and Jesse E. Quinney, College of Natural Resources, Molly Von Eagle-Lemhova, escort Professor Nat Fraser. College of Science, Corey Kimsey, escort Professor Christopher Corcoran. The universities, we should applaud these students. The University Citizenship Award recognizes students who combine an impressive record of public services with their academic success. This year's recipients are Ryan Jensen and J.C. Rex. All right. Again, congratulations to our students. Today, we celebrate the graduation. Oh, please be seated. Today, we celebrate the graduation of the class of 2017. As president, I take particular satisfaction in your accomplishment, and I want you to know how proud I am of each of you today. At yesterday's graduate ceremony, we awarded 929 graduate degrees. Today, we are proud to confer degrees on 5,316 undergraduate students. Our graduates come from 50 states and 29 countries. 56% of this year's graduates are women, and that leaves 44% men. Our youngest graduate is 18, and our oldest is 67. The most popular degrees include economics, communicative disorder and deaf education, business administration, human movement science, psychology, mechanical engineering, and elementary education. Many of our students are veterans who have served our country. We have 61 men and women military veterans and service members getting degrees together today, as well as 7 new Air Force officers and 6 new Army officers who were commissioned yesterday. The accomplishments of this graduating class are both impressive and wide-ranging. In addition, you have all shared some of common Aggie experiences, forever bonding you to your fellow Aggies and to this institution. Looking back and remembering your time as Aggie, I'm curious who among you are true Aggies. Please raise your hand. And those of you in the audience, how many of you are true Aggies? Raise your hand. Now, those of you in the audience who do not know about that rather unique tradition of Aggies, please ask your graduates. There are many other rites of passages that you, as Aggies, pass through without even realizing it. For instance, how many of you have made that daily daunting trek up Old Main Hill? Show yourselves by raising your hands. Whoa. Did you realize there are 124 steps? And if you climbed Old Main Hill 5 days a week, over the course of 4 years, you total a whopping 128,960 steps. And after all that climbing, I think you've earned some Aggie ice cream. And who is ready to claim Aggie Blue Mint as your favorite flavor? Raise your hand. Many of you undergrads have undergone significant milestones during your time here at USU. Some of you have gotten married while a USU student. Please raise your hand. Some of you have had children while at USU. Please raise your hand. And some of you were forever influenced by a professor or mentor who provided you guidance and inspiration on your future endeavors. Please raise your hand. Wait, I think we can do better than that. Let's give this important group of people a round of applause. While earning a college degree in and of itself is a full-time commitment, I know many of you here today had other obligations. Please, by a show of hands, who had to work at a job while also going to school? Yeah. And how about those who worked at 2 or more jobs while you went to school? All right. Also, as Aggies, we are known for our service to others. Please raise your hand if you ever volunteered to serve in some way to better this world. Your giving back to others is appreciated, and we applaud you. As Aggies, we do what it takes to get the job done, but we are human, and sometimes life gets in the way. There may be some of you who slept through a morning class or two, or skipped an afternoon class to nap on the quad on a warm and sunny summer day. Well, maybe we shouldn't have you raise your hand for that statistic. But those memories are just as important as the ones created through intramural sports, enjoying the beautiful leaves up Logan Canyon in the autumn, or skiing Beaver Mountain after a fresh snowfall. Whatever those side pursuits were, you stayed true to your pursuit of earning a degree from USU, and for that, I congratulate you. I also want to convey my appreciation to our Aggie sports fan. Aggie pride runs deep, and I know we have dedicated, loyal sports fans who followed our Aggie teams through their wins and losses. Instead of you raising your hand, I was thinking we would have our student athletes rise, and then let's holler out with a good Aggie cheer to support those student athletes. So student athletes, if I could ask you to rise, and now let's give them a cheer. I am proud to say that our student athlete graduation success rate stands at 89%, which leads all other schools in the Mountain West Conference. Of special note is the USU's men's tennis team with a 100% graduation success rate and the Mountain West Conference Championship in 2017. Among the Division I schools in the state, Utah State ranks first in graduation rate. To those athletes graduating today, let me say, you make us proud. I hope you had a chance to be involved with our student activities during your years here, such as homecoming, Mr. USU, poetry and a beverage, A-Day, Mr. and Miss International, and senior send-off, etc. Who attended the largest Halloween party in Utah, our very own Howell? Raise your hand. Oh, not too many. I guess you guys were too busy studying. Along with your studies, college is about having fun. The memories you make by participating in those activities will stay with you in a lifetime. We are here because of great teachers, but we are also here because of generous and selfish support from parents, spouses, children, and other friends and family. I want to pause a moment to ask our graduates to look up into the crowd and thank your families and friends for the impact they have had on your lives and for the role they have played in your success. On behalf of the university, the administration, faculty, and staff, I once again congratulate all of our graduates. I would now like to introduce our commencement speaker, who will deliver the traditional address to the graduating class. Adam M. Grant is a faculty member in psychology and the Saul P. Steinberg Professor of Management at the Wharton School of Business at University of Pennsylvania. He has published 3 books, including Originals, Give and Take, and Option B. Dr. Grant is recognized as one of the world's most influential management thinkers. He focuses on topics of thinkers, givers, and takers. He believes giving unselfishly to others can lead to one's own long-term success. However, before I turn the microphone over to Dr. Grant, I want to mention a singular but important connection between the Wharton School of Business and the Utah State University Huntsman School of Business. These 2 business schools both have the support of an incredible philanthropist, John M. Huntsman Sr. I am deeply and profoundly grateful to John, his wife Karen, and their family who have actively engaged with university in many, many different ways. In fact, John's legacy of incredible support and friendship has reached a new milestone. He and his friend Charles Koch are now providing the largest financial gift that USU has received in its 129-year history. This $50 million gift will allow the Huntsman School of Business in its commitment to developing students who will become tomorrow's leaders. Mr. Huntsman, could I ask you to raise your hand or possibly stand? And let's all show us his recognition.
Thank you for your money.
I am truly overwhelmed by Dr. Huntsman's generosity and his trust in Utah State University. And now I would like to turn the microphone over to our commencement speaker, Adam Grant.
President Cockett, Board of Trustees, faculty and staff, parents, siblings, grandparents, other family, friends, Utah State University class of 2017, and of course, Big Blue, congratulations. Giving a commencement speech is a daunting task. I thought when I finished grad school I was done with homework, but I got to do some homework to prepare for today. And when I started, I have to say, I found more questions than answers. Like, why doesn't anyone deliver Aggie ice cream to Philly? Is stealing the wagon wheel an accomplishment I could list on my resume? I didn't find any answers to these questions, and I decided it was time to get down to business. As a psychologist, I did what any self-respecting social scientist would do. I started reading studies of graduation speeches to find out what are these all about. And I decided that I would give a graduation speech about graduation speeches. I was hoping it would be like that Seinfeld episode with the coffee table book about coffee tables. But that's the wrong generation. It'll be like when Ryan Gosling wore a shirt with a picture of Macaulay Culkin on it, and then Macaulay Culkin wore a shirt with a picture of Ryan Gosling wearing that shirt. So today I want to give a meta graduation speech. I want to tell you what I think is missing from other graduation speeches. It turns out that almost every commencement speech is about virtues. You all know virtues well here, living by a set of worthy principles. And it turns out it's pretty easy to be virtuous when things are going well in your life. It's when you're down that your virtues really get tested. Last week, Facebook COO and I, Sheryl Sandberg, published a book, Option B, about building resilience. We all face challenges in life, whether it's a failed exam or a failed marriage, the loss of a football game or the loss of a loved one. And resilience is the muscle that gets us through these events. In the face of adversity, how do we find the strength to stand by our values, to stick to our virtues? Well, when you look at graduation speeches, there are three virtues that turn out to be really popular. They're generosity, authenticity, and grit. And if you want to live by these virtues, you will need resilience in your life. You need resilience to stay generous on the days when you lose faith in humanity. You need resilience to stay true to yourself on the days when other people have lost faith in you. And you need resilience to persevere on the days when you've lost faith in yourself. I love these virtues, but I do worry that if you're too obsessed with any of them, you might undermine your own resilience. And the reason for that is that virtues are a little bit like vitamins. Vitamins are critical for your health, But what happens if you take more vitamins than your body needs? I hope none of you have run the personal experiment to find out. But it turns out that some vitamins, like vitamin C, nothing bad will happen. No harm done if you take too much vitamin C. But other vitamins, like vitamin D, are dangerous in large doses. They can cause serious kidney problems. There was a great philosopher named Aristotle who believed that virtues were a lot like vitamin D. He thought that too little of a virtue was bad, but so was too much. And he argued that every virtue sits in the middle between the vices of deficiency and the vices of excess. Too little humor is dry, too much is silly. Too little pride makes us meek. Too much makes us narcissists. Too much self-restraint leaves you doing homework while your friends are tailgating. And too little self-restraint means you are really going to regret eating that fourth Scotsman dog. Well, if you're not a fan of the ancient Greeks, the same point was made by another great philosopher named Goldilocks. Goldilocks teaches us that, like porridge, virtues can run too hot or too cold. More is not always better. My colleague Barry Schwartz and I have argued that if you want happiness and success, you need to find the sweet spot between the extremes of too little and too much. You need to look for that just right. So let's talk about how this plays out for the major virtues that show up in commencement speeches. Generosity. It's the single most common theme in graduation speeches. Help others. That's the message of nearly 2/3 of them. And I'm a huge fan of generosity. I've spent my whole career studying it. I wrote an entire book about how it can not only drive our happiness, but also our success. I found in the long run, givers tend to outperform takers. And if you don't believe that, look no further than these amazing benefactors here, John and Karen Huntsman. They are living proof of the power of generosity. And it's true across so many different professions. It's true for engineers, salespeople, doctors. And even if giving does not guarantee more success than taking, it just turns out to be a more meaningful way to live our lives. But there's such a thing as being too generous. If you are too generous, that turns out to be a recipe for burnout. Take teachers. Education is all about helping students. So we tend to love teachers who are selfless. But in some research I did with a colleague, Reb Rebele, we actually found that the most selfless teachers ended up being the least engaged in the classroom. And their students did the worst on standardized achievement tests. So you know what this means about the best teachers. They had about as much compassion as Frank Underwood, if he were about maybe half Demogorgon. No, the effective teachers were the ones who cared really deeply about their students, but they also did what we're all advised to do on airplanes. They secured their own oxygen masks before assisting others. Now, if you're George Carlin, you laughed at that advice, saying, "I do not need to be told that." But this is critical advice for living a good life. The teachers who said, "I am going to care about students, but not at my own expense," they felt less altruistic, but they actually helped more. They were able to give in ways that were energizing instead of exhausting, and ways that ultimately were sustainable. So my advice today is help others, but don't sacrifice yourselves. A second beloved virtue is authenticity. Be true to yourself. It's a core theme in more than half of commencement speeches. And I'm not going to encourage anyone in this room to be false to yourself. Of course, you should be genuine. But if authenticity is the virtue you prize most in life, there is a real danger that you will stunt your own growth. To be authentic, you have to be crystal clear about your identity and values. Who am I? What's important to me? You need to know the answers to those questions. And if you get clear about the answer to those questions, that can tether you to a fixed anchor and close the door to personal growth. When I was in grad school, a friend asked me to give a guest lecture for her class. I was terrified of public speaking, but I wanted to be helpful, so I agreed. And I thought, as a learning opportunity, after the class, I'll give out feedback forms to find out how I can get better. And let me just tell you, it was brutal. One student wrote that I was so nervous that I was causing all the students to physically shake in their seats. I was shaking too. And let's face it, my authentic self was not a fan of public speaking. But you know what? I've started volunteering to give more guest lectures anyway, knowing it was the only way that I could improve. And I was not being true to myself. I was being true to the self that I wanted to become, someone who was comfortable on stage, giving speeches. Well, a few years later, I was turned down for my first professor job because after watching me give a presentation, the hiring committee said I would never, ever be able to teach a group of students. Great message for a new professor, right? And I ended up getting hired by a different school. My first year there, I was asked to teach a 4-hour class for colonels in the US Air Force. I was 25, they were twice my age. They had dozens of medals on their uniforms, thousands of flight hours under their belts, and billions of dollars in budgets under their command. Plus, they all had cool nicknames like Stryker and Sand Dune. It was like a scene out of the movie Top Gun. And I knew I needed to establish credibility, so I started sharing my credentials. And at the end of the session, their feedback forms were even less fun than the ones from college students. One of the Air Force colonels wrote, "There was more quality information in the audience than on the podium." Dagger to the heart. Another wrote, "I gained very little from this session, but I trust the instructor did gain useful insight." Thanks for laughing at me. It felt great then, too. Well, here's the problem. I had already signed up to give one more class for another group of colonels, and I didn't have time to change my content, let alone learn something new. All I could do was change my introduction and try to set the stage differently. Total authenticity would have been to come in and say, look, I've got to be candid with you. I bombed my first class, but guess what? You're going to get the same 4 hours of material that your colleagues hated. And that would have made me look weak. So I tried to find the sweet spot between authenticity and credibility. I didn't say a word about my expertise this time. I opened by saying, look, we're going to spend the next 4 hours together, and I know what you're thinking right now. What could I possibly learn from a professor who's 12 years old? Stunned silence. The only sound that I could hear was my racing heartbeat. But finally, a colonel, codenamed Hawk, piped up. And he said, come on, that's way off base. I'm pretty sure you're 13. Well, I ended up teaching the exact same material, but the feedback was night and day different. One colonel wrote, although junior in experience, Adam dealt with the studies in an interesting way. And another wrote, I can't believe Adam is only 12. He did a great job. Sadly, youth is not one of those honors you get to hold on to. But my advice from that experience is you should be true to yourself, but not so much that your true self fails to evolve. Let's talk about the third popular virtue, grit. Never give up. It's the theme of more than 4 out of 10 of every graduation speeches. And look, persistence is key in life, for happiness, for success. There's the author whose novel was rejected 6 times. The artist whose cartoons were turned down over and over. And the musicians who were told, quote, guitar groups are on the way out, and you will never make it in show business. And if they could quit, Harry Potter, Disney, and the Beatles would not exist. So we admire persistence. It's one of the great American virtues. It's something that we hold dear in our hearts. It's something that we aspire for our children to live. But that's only half the story. Because for every J.K. Rowling and Walt Disney and Lennon and McCartney, there are thousands of writers and entrepreneurs and musicians who fail not for lack of grit, but because of how narrowly they apply grit. And I know this from experience. As a kid, I loved sports. I spent hours every day shooting baskets outside my house. And when I didn't make my 6th grade basketball team, I knew it was time for some expert coaching. So I signed up for Chris Webber's basketball camp. I was so excited by this that when the Orlando Magic drafted Chris Webber, I spray painted in giant letters, Shaq and Webber kick butt on my driveway. I don't know why my parents allowed this, but the Magic immediately traded Webber away to another team, and I was stuck with a giant kick butt on my driveway for 3 years. Well, I tried to work my butt off practicing, but I didn't make the 7th grade basketball team. I worked as hard as I could the next year, and I didn't make the 8th grade basketball team. And I started high school under 5 feet tall. I finally realized it was time to give up on basketball. I suddenly had a lot of free time on my hands. and I decided to try diving. The springboard kind, not the scuba kind. I walked into tryouts the first day, and the coach said, "Do you want the good news or the bad news?" And I said, "Give me the bad news." He said, "Well, the bad news is you walk like Frankenstein, and my grandmother can jump higher than you." And I said, "What's the good news?" He said, "Diving turns out to be a nerd sport. It attracts all the people who are too short for basketball and too slow for track and too wimpy for football. So I have hope for you yet." And you know what? I ended up qualifying for the Junior Olympic Nationals twice by the time I graduated from high school. And I ended up competing at the NCAA Division I level, because it was a really easy sport. But what I learned from that experience was that never give up is actually really bad advice. Sometimes quitting is a virtue. And if you want to cultivate the virtue of grit, that doesn't mean keep doing the thing that's failing over and over again. It means defining your dreams broadly enough that you can find new ways to pursue them when your first and second plans fail. I needed to give up on my dream of making the NBA, but I didn't need to give up on my dream of becoming an athlete. All right, a fake athlete. And you see this all the time. Those of you who watch Shark Tank, I bet you have seen a pitch from an entrepreneur who has real potential as a business person, but desperately needs to give up on that current startup. Not that I have anything against a cafe where you can sip latte next to cats, or a tongue brush that lets you lick your cat's tongue, or wine for cats. Yep, all Shark Tank pitches. So I think that sometimes resilience comes from gritting your teeth and packing your bags. And other times it really comes from having the courage to admit your flaws and accept your failures. When I got tenure and decided to write my first book, my literary agent asked for a proposal. And I did something I would never wish on my worst enemy, which is I got so excited about the ideas that I ended up accidentally writing the whole book instead of just the proposal. Over 102,000 words. I sent it over, and my agent gently told me that my writing might interest a fellow academic, but that was about it, and no person in their right mind would ever read a sentence that I wrote. So if I believed in this idea of never give up, I might have gone to another agent, or I might have gone to publishers directly. But resilience meant having the strength to take the feedback to heart and start over. I had the same goal, writing a book about generosity, but a different strategy, writing something that people might actually want to read. Should have thought of that before the 102,000 words. And my agent gave me brilliant advice. He said, "Write like you teach." So I started over from scratch, and I threw out over 100,000 words. There were a few hundred that I couldn't let go of, which I sort of snuck into the book. But the book that I wrote that time became my first book, Give and Take, and it ended up being the reason that I have the honor of standing here on this stage. And my takeaway from that for you is don't give up on your values, but be willing to give up on your plans. Sometimes there are multiple ways to live that virtue of grit. So if I can leave you with a big thought today, it's to take a page out of this Goldilocks story. Watch out for virtues that burn too hot, not just too cold. If you want to be happy, successful, resilient, you need to find the right amount of generosity and authenticity and grit, not just the most of each of those virtues. But there's one part of the Goldilocks story that you should not take too literally. Anyone study thermodynamics here by any chance? All right, we've got a few of you. If you know your physics, if you think about the Goldilocks story, you've got 3 different bowls, and the biggest bowl should be the one that retains its heat the longest. But you know what? Goldilocks does not follow the rule of physics, it turns out. Because Papa Bear's is the hottest, as it should be. But why is Mama Bear's porridge too cold, while Baby Bear's is just right? Well, as an academic, I spend a lot of my free time thinking about these kinds of questions. And the only conclusion that I could draw was apparently Mama Bear's porridge got cold while she was busy first making sure that Baby Bear's was just right, and then reheating Papa Bear's bowl so he could build his character by burning his tongue like a proper misogynistic male bear. And I am so thrilled to see that unlike the Bear family in Goldilocks, Utah State University has played a pioneering role in challenging traditional gender stereotypes. Your alumni include astronaut Mary Cleave, one of the first 10 women in space, and Paula Hawkins, the first female senator from the South, and still the only woman elected to the Senate from Florida. And now President Cockett is the first female Aggie president. Congratulations. And we should celebrate the shattering of glass ceilings every time that happens. But we shouldn't get complacent, because the fight to support underrepresented groups is never finished. And this is one virtue that doesn't follow the Goldilocks rule. Appreciate diversity is a fourth virtue that shows up in a third of graduation speeches. And I believe it's the one virtue where a lot more is always a lot better. There is no such thing as too much diversity in our lives. Diversity, it turns out, lies at the heart of resilience. As President Cockett can tell you, in biology, we have diverse genes to protect different species against disease and prepare different species for different climates. In companies, we have diverse expertise to protect against groupthink and prepare for a changing, turbulent, disrupted world. And in countries, diverse backgrounds and values are essential to a strong and successful democracy. In communities, diversity is an unlimited virtue because it keeps different virtues in balance. And as graduates, that's what you will contribute to the world, different virtues. And you all should be incredibly proud of the diversity of those virtues. So today, I wish you warm congratulations, and go Aggies!
Thank you, Adam, for your advice to all of us on virtues and about building resilience in ourselves. Thank you for that very inspiring and yet very entertaining commencement lecture. On behalf of the graduates and all our guests, may I say that it is an honor for Utah State University to have a commencement address delivered by someone who encourages us all to enjoy life and be true to ourselves, no matter where life takes us. There are many factors that contribute to the quality of Utah State University. Likely, the most important of these are the achievements of her faculty. They are the foundation upon which a university is built. Our faculty members, the product of more than 250 strong institutions in the United States and across the world, are all deserving of recognition. However, each year we seek to acknowledge a few who represent their colleagues in receiving honors. A committee of students and faculty has identified a teacher in each college to be designated as Teacher of the Year from that college. From among those 8, one is selected as Professor of the Year. The persons honored by the colleges are seated with the faculty today. May I ask each to stand as I call your name. College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences, Clay Isom. John M. Huntsman, School of Business, Sterling Bone. Emma Eccles-Jones, College of Education and Human Services, Beth McDonald. College of Engineering, Joseph Caliendo. College of Humanities and Social Sciences, Ravi Gupta. S.J. and Jesse E. Quinney, College of Natural Resources, Andrew Komatiski. College of Science, Benjamin Berger, who is unable to be with us today. The individual selected this year as the university's Professor of the Year and to receive the Eldon J. Gardner Teaching Award is Matt Omasta from the Kane College of the Arts. Professor Omasta, please stand. Congratulations to each of you faculty members for your outstanding contributions. One measure of the quality of a university is its success in the identification and transfer of new knowledge. Utah State University enjoys a worldwide reputation because of its achievements in research and its successful integration of learning through discovery and teaching. The D. Wynn Thorne Career Research Award was established to focus attention on significant research contributions of the faculty. The award this year goes to a most deserving individual, Joanne Shantz. Professor Shantz, please stand and let us congratulate you. For many people throughout the state, Utah State University is embodied in a representative of the USU Extension Service. These dedicated extension workers serve in every corner of the state and bring research-based information to individuals and their communities. The E.G. Peterson Extension Award this year goes to Diane Reese. Diane, would you please rise so we can congratulate you? And finally, I am pleased to announce the Faculty University Service Award, which was created to recognize excellence in service to our university. Faculty members who accept the call for service do so above and beyond their regular teaching, research, and extension responsibilities. This award goes to a member of the faculty who has demonstrated leadership, high involvement in service activities, and mentoring of others. The Faculty University Service Award this year goes to Rebecca Lauber. Becky, please stand so we can congratulate you. In recognition of significant achievement, Utah State University confers honorary doctorates. A committee made up of members of the trustees of the university, faculty, students, and alumni carefully scrutinize the names and qualifications of persons nominated. The final selection is approved by the USU Board of Trustees. Today, the university will recognize 3 people with honorary degrees. The first to be awarded an honorary degree is Adam M. Grant. His citation will be read by Mark K. Holland, member of the USU Board of Trustees. Mr. Holland.
Dr. Grant, can you please step forward? And I think you're right here. Adam Grant is changing the way leaders view the workforces. A leading expert on how one can find motivation in meaning, Dr. Grant has guided hundreds on how to live a more generous and creative life. The New York Times best-selling author upended decades of conventional thinking with the thesis that unselfishly giving to colleagues and clients can lead to one's own long-term success. Dr. Grant's #1 best-selling book, Originals, How Nonconformists Move the World, explores how unconventional thinkers overturn the status quo and champion game-changing ideas, while his book, Give and Take, which I recently read, examines why helping others drives one's success. And Adam is currently at 1 week out on his 3rd book, Option B, so we get him right in the middle of your book signing tour, is that right? So very honored to have you here. Dr. Grant is rated as a top professor at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania for the past 5 years. He has been recognized as one of the world's 25 most influential management thinkers by Thinkers 50, and is one of Fortune magazine's 40 under 40. 35, I Googled him. Along with his scholarly duties, Dr. Grant devotes much of his time working with clients. His TED Talks on the topics of original thinkers and givers and takers have been viewed by more than 7 million people. His speaking and consulting clients include Facebook, Google, the NBA, Merck, Goldman Sachs, Pixar, the U.S. Army and Navy, and the World Economic Forum. For his encouraging guidance, Utah State University is proud to bestow upon Adam Grant the honorary degree Doctor of Business. Congratulations.
Next to be awarded an honorary degree is Judge Ted Stewart. His citation will be read by Jody K. Burnett, member of the USU Board of Trustees.
Judge Stewart, if you'll join me at the podium, thank you. Judge Ted Stewart was born here in Logan and raised on a dairy farm in Weston, Idaho. After graduating from USU in 1972, he went on to a very successful public service career in Utah. Judge Stewart was nominated by President Bill Clinton in 1999 to the United States District Court for the District of Utah, and later that same year confirmed and sworn in by the United States Senate. He became Chief Judge of the District of Utah in January of 2011 and served in that capacity until 2015. Early in his career, Judge Stewart worked in private law practice and then joined Congressman Jim Hansen's Washington, D.C. office. He returned to Utah in 1985 when he was appointed by Governor Norm Bangerter to the Utah Public Service Commission. He then worked as Executive Director of the Utah Department of Commerce and later as Executive Director of the Utah Department of Natural Resources. He also served as Chief of Staff to Governor Mike Lovett from March 1998 to November 1999. Among Judge Stewart's many diverse pursuits, one that has been particularly near and dear to his heart is teaching as a visiting professor here at USU, beginning in 1991, including courses on the United States Congress, environmental law and policy, democracy and public policy, and the U.S. Supreme Court. Along with his brother Chris, Judge Stewart is the author of 2 books. During his professional career, he has been honored with recognition from numerous organizations. Judge Ted Stewart, for your many contributions to the state of Utah throughout your distinguished career, Utah State University is very proud to bestow upon you the honorary degree, Doctor of Humane Letters.
Next to be awarded an honorary degree is Don Wang. His citation will be read by Scott Watterson, Vice Chair of the USU Board of Trustees.
Utah State University alumni Don J. Wang, Chinese name Wang Duan, has spent much of his life as a strong community leader in Houston, Texas. He continues to distinguish himself as someone dedicated to serving his community and particularly helping to better conditions of Asian immigrants. In 1987, Mr. Wang helped found Metro Bank to meet the financial needs of various ethnic communities in Houston, where he has served as the chairman of the board of the company and bank until 2014. He has also served as chairman of the New Era Life Insurance Company during that time. An active member in a number of business organizations that take an active role in enhancing communications between Houston's international business community, particularly those of Asian descent, and the city's local government and business leaders. In addition to his business-related obligations, Mr. Wang takes the time to serve others, having served on the boards of directors of the Harris County Hospital District and the Metropolitan Transit Authority. Throughout his career, Mr. Wang has received numerous awards and recognition and has successfully managed to balance his numerous achievements in the business world with a strong record of giving back to the community. His widely recognized leadership ability has been tapped by several city administrations and countless community organizations throughout his career. Don J. Wang, for your selfless service and for your commitment to give back to your city and country, Utah State University is proud to bestow upon you your honorary degree, Doctor of Agriculture.
And finally, an honorary degree has been previously awarded to Beverly Jean Larson White at the USU Tooele Regional Campus graduation ceremony last Saturday. She is unable to be with us today, but I encourage you to read her citation in the commencement program. At this time, I would like to introduce our student commencement speaker, Emily Genju Cotton, valedictorian from the Kane College of the Arts. She was competitively selected by the college valedictorians to address us. Emily is graduating with a bachelor's degree in vocal performance. Following her graduation, she will be attending Arizona State University to pursue a master's degree in voice performance. Emily?
Good morning, members of the faculty and administration, my fellow students and graduates of 2017, and a special welcome to guests, alumni, friends, and family that are here with us today. I have learned so many things while attending Utah State, and they're not exclusively things regarding my trade, which is music. They're very practical things that anyone can apply in their daily life, and they're simple things. So, for example, invest. Invest in a good, quality, waterproof mascara, because life is hard and openly weeping in the middle of class is a thing that people do sometimes. This is valid because it saves you time and money because you won't have to reapply, and it saves you product. So take that however you will. Another thing that I learned is that obviously winters in Logan are brutal. So drink plenty of water, plenty of fluids. You're gonna wanna replenish and rehydrate yourselves because, again, some cry sessions are a little more intense than others. So just do it for the sake of your health and really kind of common sense things, but college really helped to solidify that knowledge for me. All joking aside though, I'm going to be very candid with you and say that I find it very ironic that I am standing in front of you here today. Because when I first came to university, the very idea of standing in front of a large crowd of people would have been utterly and completely petrifying, not that it isn't right now. Because almost 4 years ago, I entered college with a pretty legitimate fear of people. I had social anxiety, stage fright, and a well-developed sense of insecurity about everything about myself, which is an ironic mix when you take into account the fact that I am a vocal performance major. A degree which, by its very essence, is something that requires you to stand up in front of other people and be vulnerable to their criticisms. I don't know what possessed me to pursue the performing arts, but here I am, and as cheesy and cliche as it seems, learning to be a singer and being a student has helped me to identify the things that cause me the most fear or discomfort, and in doing so, I was able to overcome those personal struggles. 4 years ago, I was terrified of making mistakes, as I'm sure many people are, not to mention in front of other people. But amongst the many things that I learned, I began to understand that we can only learn if we are willing to be imperfect. That, just like with music, being open to making mistakes, reaching out to others, and simply being comfortable with being yourself takes practice. That, if we want to improve, we first have to be willing to change. Winston Churchill put it so poignantly, to improve is to change, to be perfect is to change often. Of course, that is not to say that change is exclusively this big, hulking thing that comes around once every other year to backslap you in the face with some detrimental, life-altering event. Change can be small. Change is flexibility. It's fear. It's failure. Change is the realization that we've gone through change before and that we can do it again. We can do hard things. Change in its purest essence is the foundation for hope. The biggest thing that I hope to be able to share with you today is that this change, graduation, that this shift that many of us are making as we move on to the next phase of our lives is, first of all, doable, as we can all see with us all standing here, and commendable. And that, as unpredictable and scary as it may seem, this change that we're going through is full of hope. I have to tell myself this quite often because I'm not quite sure if I myself handled change very well. This last year, people would tell me, "Emily, you always seem like you've got your life together," which surprised me because, as you may have already guessed, I do a lot of spontaneous crying. But you know, I probably cry a lot because in these last couple of years, I have subjected myself willingly to a lot of big changes and adjustments. But it's for the better. And it didn't all come at once. I took small steps. Like, as silly as it may seem, I started walking with my head up. Not at the ground, afraid to be noticed. Then I slowly got comfortable with that and moved on to saying hello to people that I knew, whereas before I was terrified for some reason of being the first person to say hello. Then I got comfortable with that, and then I moved on to acknowledging strangers on the street with a smile or a nod. And then I was able to finally introduce myself to new people without, say, wanting to run to the second floor of the music building and run into the restroom, into the first restroom stall on the right, and locking myself in there for a couple of minutes. Not that I would know from experience or anything. I'm providing you with this anecdote because each step of the way, after each small milestone, I was able to look back and say, hey, I did that, when I never thought I would be able to. So what's stopping me from doing something like that again? If we are not willing to face the things that cause us fear or discomfort, we will never move forward. Being comfortable with being in a place of fear and being able to steadily overcome those fears makes us hopeful. And likewise, when we are not actively pursuing growth, we fall into decay. We are here because we are in the pursuit of greater things. We struggled to get here, and we are here because we hope for a better future. However, just because we graduated, it doesn't mean it's free coasting now, although that would be nice. Fear or struggle doesn't go away, but you learn to function in spite of it. Much like exercising a muscle, in order to build up strength, you must first learn to be comfortable with the burning sensation and the perpetual soreness that comes with regular exercise. I hope that as we move forward, we continue this trend of embracing struggle and change in our lives, because it is for the better. And you know, if you cry along the way, it's okay, because the endorphin high you get afterwards isn't so bad. Thank you, and congratulations, graduating class of 2017.
Thank you, Emily, for continuing the great tradition of a student commencement speaker. All candidates who have been recommended for graduation are listed in the commencement program. Presentations of diplomas and the announcing of individual graduates' names will occur in the college ceremonies later today. The schedule for the college ceremonies is printed in your commencement program on page 2. We will now proceed to conferring the degrees. And I just want to say, while some people think the cool part is getting their diploma, it's actually at the moment that we confer the degree that you truly have it. So all those people who skipped this morning's commencement ceremony, that you see at your college ceremony tell them they don't really have their degree. I should note that the formal awarding of your degree is contingent upon the demonstration of enthusiasm after the citation of your college is read. The candidates for the bachelor's degree from the 8 colleges of the university, as well as those receiving the associate degrees, will be presented by Dr. Lawrence H. Smith, interim provost of the university. Provost Smith.
Will Maura Hagan, Dean of the College of Science, and all candidates for degrees, please rise and remain standing until all of the 8 colleges have been presented. President Cockett, I am honored to present the College of Science, home to explorers of the natural and physical worlds who will discover answers to both old and new scientific mysteries. Will Chris Lukey, Dean of the S.J. and Jesse E. Quinney College of Natural Resources, and all candidates for degrees, please rise. President Cockett, I am honored to present the S.J. and Jesse E. Quinney College of Natural Resources, promoting and shaping the healthy ecosystems upon which all human communities depend. Will Jagath Kalarachi, Interim Dean of the College of Engineering, and all candidates for degrees, please rise. President Cockett, as Interim Provost, I am honored to present the College of Engineering, solving the problems of the technological world and using innovation to build a better one. Will Joseph Ward, Dean of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and all candidates for degrees, please rise. President Cockett, I am honored to present the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, those who will probe the meaning and value of the mind's limitless potential, human distinctiveness, and cultural context to elevate all of human existence. Will Kenneth White, Dean of the College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences, and all candidates for degrees, please rise. President Cockett, I am honored to present the College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences, those who use science to sustain life throughout the world and care for the planet we share. Will Craig Jessup, Dean of the Kane College of the Arts, and all candidates for degrees, please rise. President Cockett, I am honored to present the Kane College of the Arts, a community of artists and scholars who explore the boundless depths of human creativity and together teach us that artistic expression can connect us all. will Douglas Anderson, Dean of the John M. Huntsman School of Business, and all candidates for degrees, please rise. President Cockett, I am honored to present the John M. Huntsman School of Business, where entrepreneurial spirit, strong ethics, and vision transform opportunities into careers and lives. Will Beth Foley, Dean of the Emma Eccles Jones College of Education and Human Services, and all candidates for degrees, please rise. President Cockett, I am honored to present the Emma Eccles Jones College of Education and Human Services, our next generation of outstanding educators and human service professionals who will ignite the passion of learning and improve countless lives in countless ways. Will Vice Provost Janet Anderson and all candidates for an associate's degree in general studies please rise. President Cockett, I am pleased to present to you those who met the requirements to earn an associate's degree in general studies, whether preparing for a career, enhancing current employment, or pursuing further education. This degree is a milestone that allows for endless opportunities, and I am honored to present these candidates for associate's degrees in general studies.
Thank you, Provost Smith.
President Cockett, all of these beautiful and amazing students have fulfilled all the requirements for the degrees in their respective colleges. I therefore recommend that the appropriate degrees be conferred upon them. A number of graduates are not present, but have been officially excused. Their names, however, are included in the printed program.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the state of Utah and the State Board of Regents, I confer upon you the degree appropriate to the requirements you have met. Congratulations, Utah State University class of 2017. Thank you. You may be seated. In closing the 2017 commencement ceremony, I want to tell you, graduating class of 2017, that you hold a special place in my heart. You were part of the student body that heard of, and in some cases participated in the selection of a new president. You were part of the student body that celebrated my appointment and inauguration, never doubting that a woman can lead this institution. You are the graduates who participated in my investiture today. And last but not least, you are my first graduating class. While you may someday forget who the president was, you will always be special to me. Thank you for being part of my incredible year. Congratulations again on your degree and your accomplishments. I wish the very best for each of you. The USU Chamber Singers will now sing Seasons of Love, words and music by Jonathan Larson, directed by Dr. Corey Evans and Brooklyn Dyer, after which Mr. Thomas Rohr will conduct the USU Chamber Singers, the USU Wind Orchestra, and the audience in the singing of the Alma Mater.
Minutes, 525,000 moments, oh dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? In daylight, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter, in strife. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about love? How about love? How about Seasons of love, seasons of love.
525,600 minutes, 525,000 journeys to plan, 525,600 minutes. How do you measure the life of a woman or a man?
Truth that she learned, or in times that he cried, in bridges he burned, or the way that she died.
Story never ends. Let's celebrate, remember the year in the life of the president of
Oh, you got to remember the love. You know that love is a gift from up above. That love gives us measure
graduates are requested to remain standing during the recessional until the platform guests, followed by the graduates, have departed the building. I ask you to then move quickly to the various assembly halls so there will be no delay in beginning the college programs. With this recessional, we complete the 130th year of Utah State University. These commencement ceremonies stand adjourned.